as a CEO of a local bank, right, community bank, I think that's super important.
Oh, it's incredibly important. As I like to say, that community banks have a symbiotic relationship with the communities that they're in. And so, what does that mean? It means as the local economy grows, the community bank should prosper too, right? We're tied to the economy.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Diligent Leader. I'm one of your hosts, Kalie Jakovics.
And I'm Alex Fakeri.
And today we have a very special guest, Mark Hanna, the CEO and president of the Bank of Glen Burnie. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited. I mean, this has been, it's a long time coming, but the idea of sitting down with you because, so much is happening and, I just think it's great timing. So thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure, truly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We like to start by getting to know our guests so our viewers can learn a little bit about you. Do you want to give us a little background?
I don't know if there's anything terribly interesting, but the most pertinent might be I'm a 1986 alumnus of Annapolis High School, left to go to college in North Carolina, worked in North Carolina, moved my career to Virginia, and about 3 years ago, a little bit less than 3 years ago, the opportunity to come back to Anne Arundel County kind of was presented. And in October of 2023, I took the position as president and CEO back here where it all started. Family, friends,
Love that.
Got clients, got directors, got family here. So it's just really neat to be back and hopefully finish my career back home.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, you mentioned some of your career. How did your career get started for you? I don't think anybody wakes up and says, I can't wait to be back in banking. Kind of curious.
I wasn't one either.
Okay.
I graduated from Wake Forest University in May of 1990, and the job market in 1990 wasn't really all that great, coming off of a recession.
Yeah, that's right.
And so jobs were a little bit scarce. I was one of the fortunate few to land a job. I knew I was a business major. Mom's a math teacher.
My dad's a math teacher too.
Really?
Yeah, he retired. Yeah, he was a math teacher. He
I didn't
tackled
know
all
that.
the higher maths. Yeah. I didn't get any of that, by the way. That's why I'm not in banking.
So I wanted to leverage some math, but
Sure.
I didn't want to be in a cubicle somewhere.
Yeah.
And banking seemed like a great way to start the career. There was a lot of management training programs, particularly in North Carolina at that time, that were considered to be great career starters. You do that for a few years, and then you take that. Maybe you go back to MBA school. Maybe you go, you see where your career takes you. So I kind of gave banking about a 3-year window, and almost 36 years later, I'm still here. So you could say I'm a failure.
Well, you must have liked it.
Yeah. So it's worked out well. I do enjoy it because it leverages some analytical stuff. Also, it leverages relationship building, which I really enjoy. I like to get out in the community. I like to meet people. I like to see different businesses, learn about what makes them successful as a manager, as a leader, and as a business model. So I've seen a lot in my time, and that's what I really appreciate about banking.
Yeah.
And
Changing all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're very heavily involved in the community and networking, and I think as a CEO of a local bank, right, community bank, I think that's super important.
Oh, it's incredibly important. As I like to say, that community banks have a symbiotic relationship with the communities that they're in, and so what does that mean? It means as the local economy grows, the community bank should prosper too, right? We're tied to the economy, but it also means that as a community bank prospers and grows, that it lifts the local economy with it. So being active in the community, giving back, networking, helping grow the local economy through chambers and economic development partnerships is critical to who we are. It's in our DNA. So and I enjoy it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you've been in banking for a long time, but are there any key contributors that kind of helps you step into that CEO role position to lead a bank?
Yeah.
Gosh, well, there's one person that helped me. A gentleman named Hank Boyd in Virginia Beach that kind of helped me make the plunge from larger regional, national banks into community banking. And I want to say I was 35 or so, maybe at that time, 37. single, no kids, just a beagle. And I said, what's the downside if it doesn't work? And
Just a beagle.
yeah,
Just a beagle.
great beagle, by the way,
Aw.
Annie. But yeah, I took the plunge and it stuck. But in terms of mentors, the one that I keep drawing from, I think I met Dan when it was 1990, and he was essentially, in the credit side of a very large bank, First Citizens Bank in Raleigh,
Right.
North Carolina. And he took an interest in me, but Dan was never one that was going to show an interest. It was tough love
Right.
with Dan. And but the more he talked down to me, the more I realized he likes me. So if that makes any sense, but Hanna, but it was great. He kind of took me under his wing. We enjoyed golf. We'd go out on Hillsborough Street and we'd shoot pool. We'd go to ice hockey games. But he was hard on me at work. But he was also led me in the right direction and kind of showed me the connection, hard work, effort, the do's and the don'ts, and it's really led me to this point. Still keep in touch with Dan.
Yeah.
He's since retired, but he's sailing a boat up and down the Atlantic, and every now and again he swings through Annapolis.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
but super guy, and he's very proud. He actually, two people, myself and one other gentleman who's in Winston-Salem, David Barksdale, went on to become bank CEOs, and Dan's very, very proud of his legacy as a mentor, that he had not just one but two bank CEOs under his
Like, "Look what I
mentorship.
did."
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, super guy. I owe him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, the diligent leader, the show's about leadership at all levels, right? But we always think of CEOs because they have that charge, right? And so I've been kind of curious for you when you step into the role of CEO for Bank of Glen Burnie, you have different expectations. You have maybe something they're not used to. And so you have your goals. And so I guess, when you walked into that role, right, there's probably a couple things I think the audience would love to hear is what was your mindset? And then how do you assess the landscape and set priorities?
Oof, that's a great question. So it actually started in the interview process. Once I found out about the opportunity through a friend of mine, and I started researching it, the bank reached out and said,
Yeah.
we'd like to talk. So I think it was a total of 3 interviews. But in that process, I pulled up a lot of financial information on the board, really research on the bank, really researched the bank and where they were. And so by the time we started interviewing, they started asking me, what do you think? And for better or worse, I told them.
Yeah, there you go.
And it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
So what I saw from the outside looking in was that they were a community bank that was really centered in commoditized products, right?
Yeah.
Residential portfolio mortgages, indirect auto loans. Those are loans that are usually commoditized, bundled, sold. But community banking is all about relationships. And so it was kind of incongruent with the business model to be in a commoditized business segments,
Right.
but really operating as a true, with the overhead and everything that goes with being a relational organization. So that's what I told the board from the first interview really to the last interview,
Sure.
and carried it on to my first day on the job. And today,
Love that.
when I talk to the employees, I say, what's a 5-word sentence that's all verbs? And the answer is grow, 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 grow. We've got to grow. We've got to grow
There you go.
relationships, and we've got to grow loans. We've got to grow deposits. But at the end of the day, we've got to grow relationships
Love
in the
that.
local community.
Absolutely. I mean, how many employees are there? I mean, how many branches? Can you share that with our viewers?
We've shrunk a little bit, so it's there were 8 branches when I got there, but of course, if you look at the banking landscape today, people are using phones and
Yeah,
laptops,
Absolutely.
and so we had 2 leased facilities. We closed both of those. Lease terms were coming up, so it kind of timed nicely to pare down some of that. We're down to about 70 employees, give or take.
Okay.
We were a little bit 90-ish when I got there. We haven't done any rifts, no laying anybody off. It's just we've closed some branches. We realized we got to get a little leaner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we got to grow. So it's tough. You're trying to maybe pull in your overhead
Yeah.
while you're also trying to increase your revenues. And so we're very focused now on what you said earlier, is getting out in the community, looking for new relationships, sales, business development. I don't like sales. Sales is not what we do. We build relationships.
Sure.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
sometimes that leads to a banking relationship, sometimes it doesn't. But we are trying to grow our relationships in Anne Arundel County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
I can say, I can attest to, since you've been on board. I mean, I wasn't really that familiar with Bank of Glen Burnie. I was kind of like, is it only for residents in Glen Burnie? I'm in Pasadena, but now, I see all the branches, I know all the things, and your team is out there really getting the word out about the services you provide and what you do. So,
Yeah. And I think, I love what you're saying about relationships, because at the end of the day, and I've said this and, many times, but the idea is we don't do business with people we don't trust. Right. You could have the shiniest little widget in the world, but until you establish trust, whether through testimonials, networking, lunches, repetition, it's about the relationship. That's what moves the bottom line, right? And I think we have now an educated consumer base. I mean, Kalie and I see that all the time. It's I'd say from a leadership standpoint, it is. I don't know if you agree. Please object if you do. But it's our job to accelerate the trust building process.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's. You're a small business owner, Alex.
Yeah.
So, during COVID, when PPP program launched, I was with large banks, and I've been with community banks. It's about split down the middle. So I have no negative words to say about either side. I've enjoyed my careers in both. But community banks have about 20% of the nation's deposit base, and the large banks have about 80%. During COVID, community banks put out 80% of the PPP loans to small businesses.
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of eye-opening. And why is that? It's because community banks were able to leverage those relationships, help people find solutions, and not processes, but find solutions, customized solutions, to get their clients the PPP funds that they were seeking during some very challenging times. Yeah. And I think that really started the reawakening. My view of banking, I know this wasn't the question, but I'm going off on a tangent.
Please. Yeah.
I do think the industry is going to bifurcate. I think your big banks are great, and they're very strong. They're very good at what they do. I also think there's a niche for community banks, for well-run community banks. There's not going to be 6,700 of them nationwide. Right. But I think, 1, 2, maybe 3 very strong community banks to offer an alternative to national banks is kind of where the industry is headed. And our goal at the Bank of Glen Burnie is to be the preeminent bank in Anne Arundel County. We think we can do that. But to do it, we have to provide an alternative path for small to mid-sized businesses, right?
Sure.
And that's, when I started this conversation before I went way off on a reservation, that's really what it's all about. Small to mid-sized businesses want somebody who understands their business. They want a relationship. They want to know that you care. They also want to know that you understand, because no two small businesses are the same. They're all very unique. And when they're talking about their financial needs, be it a loan, be it a deposit relationship, be it other financial solutions that they're looking for, they want somebody that understands the nuances of their business and can find solutions that are best for them, not, here's our box, put something on a portal, and we'll give you the cookie cutter product.
Right, yeah. It's very personalized, and
Well, I was just going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just get excited because, the reality is, yes, I'm a small business, right? And so everybody has that personal side of what's important to them. And if they think they're just filling out a form on a big website,
right,
you're not getting my why. You're not listening to my pain point that I'm dealing with. And so I think there's a lot to small businesses having an approachable contact, right, to actually listen to my woe, right, or my aspirations.
Yes.
Right? It's not always a woe, right? It's like, here's my aspiration. Can you do that? And so I think I would love to hear, kind of like, without turning into a brochure ad, not as a knock to you, but so we don't, but the listeners, when you talk about a small business, maybe you could tell us what are the common services or the core services you guys are providing that get people like, okay, this bank might be right for me.
Well, there's a lot, and it continues to grow, and that's one of the things that we've done since I got to the Bank of Glen Burnie is our we didn't maybe have all the products and services that we need to fully support small businesses, and we've added a lot. Real kudos to the employees of the Bank at Glen Burnie. It was a lot of work, and we're not done today. But things on the deposit front, it's payment solutions and it's receiving solutions, right?
Yeah.
Merchant services, how to get your bank cards working for you, accept payments, ACH. It's also, having flexible payment solutions to pay your vendors, and then making your deposit, online banking, things like that. But there's a million ways to do that: remote deposit capture, mobile online check deposit, mobile online banking. So it's really, again, not all products are right for everybody, but it's really understanding the needs and then finding the solutions to get there. Technology really, it's been good for community banks. The technology spend that we have is tough, but at the same time, what it's done is it's kind of leveled the playing field, because for relatively low price of entry, we can provide almost all the products and solutions that a large bank can provide at a small bank with all the technology that I would say 99% of small to mid-sized businesses in this community need. From the lending side, then again, there too, you're talking about loans, but the customization of loans tailored to your specific needs, as opposed to a one size fits all, and that's tough to automate when you get to the lending side. That's where the relationship comes in and the understanding of your business, knowing what the bank can do and trying to tailor fit something to your needs.
Yeah, and I guess whether it's community banks in general or maybe Bank of Glen Burnie, how are you guys adapting with industry change, new technologies coming all the time?
Technology is good and bad. Like I said, it's expensive, but it's tough to be wrong, right? We have a budget that's this big, and there's technology investments that are this big, so. We have to be very strategic in where we leverage those resources. And the tough thing is, as I tell folks, is if we've got a budget that's this big and we allocate this much of the budget and we're wrong and that's not a good product, or we can't integrate the product, that's painful, right? It's a lot more painful to us than others. But at the same time, the technology, like I said, really levels the playing field, and it gives us the ability to look much bigger than we really are, and to provide very complex, sophisticated services to our clients that punch above our weight class, if you will.
So I'm just kind of curious from, because you mentioned technology, it's a lot of change and everything that goes on with that as well. I guess when you do evaluate technology, because you're minding your budget like any organization, how do you choose, where is that balance come between choosing an innovative technology and then things that are driven by the consumer demand? What do they want? What does the consumer want? Because the last thing you want to do is build something nobody needs, and you make a big investment.
Well, with all the talk about technology, I will say this: we look at technology as needed, and it's strategic, but at the same time, we're not using. Our calling card is our personal approach. It's the person-to-person relationship. When you call the bank, you're going to get a person. You're not going to get a call tree. You're not going to get a chat box, or you're going to get a person answering your questions. And so that's still our primary delivery channel, and that's not going away. Technology really augments the relationships and provides the years ago when grocery stores started putting in the self-checkout, everybody kind of steered away from, and now everybody goes to the self-checkout unless they got too many items and they got to go back to the, and so that's kind of the same for us. The technology is the self-checkout. It's an alternate delivery model. Use it if you like, but we're still here in the checkout line to help you in person.
I love
that. So with that, technology, yes, it's a lot customer driven. What do we see? What do our clients need? What do we see that our clients need that they may not know about, that we think really enhances the value of the relationship? And so we've got an ear to the ground. We're looking for new trends, new products, new services. We just launched one This week I responded to a LinkedIn, I guess it wasn't this week, but I replied to a LinkedIn post that went on about it. We're one of the first people to offer a product called Onsetto. And I don't want this to be an infomercial, but,
No, but tell us. Go ahead.
it helps it helps with onboarding business checking accounts. You know, if you move a checking account,
Onsetto. I get.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good.
So you're like, oh my God, I've got all these debits and credits. And,
Yeah, it's a lot.
And if I miss anything, somebody doesn't get paid or I don't get paid.
Absolutely.
So it's a system that kind of goes through everything and really helps make that transition much easier. Plus, it helps identify product services that either you are using or should use that would really benefit your banking relationship. So it's a tool that our people can use to really make that transition, onboarding much better. And we were one of the first banks in the country to offer that. So we're a little bit innovative at the Bank of Glen Burnie,
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is a new trend for us. But so we're trying to be strategic, but we're also trying to make sure we've got all the blocking and tackling covered as well.
Yeah.
Well, so as we transition to that, I want to be mindful of your time today. This has been fantastic so far. But when you are looking at that technology and you're changing this, there's a certain amount of leadership that from your board to everybody that requires a change of mind, requires innovation, which can be scary, as you've talked about, but not necessarily scary, but it's a process to adapt it, right? And so how are you making those choices to how are you handling change within the organization? Question one. And then question two is as a leadership organization, do you see that come to fruition?
You may want to ask people inside the organization how I'm handling change. you may get a few different responses than it's tough. It's tough on people, and I knew that coming in. We're asking them to do things differently, to think differently than they have. We are blessed to have many long-term employees at the Bank of Glen Burnie. Yeah. And that really is a blessing. But if you've been doing something a certain way for a long time, when somebody like me comes in and says, "Hey, we got to think differently. We got to do things differently," that's tough and it's stressful. And your inclination may even be, "That's not right. This is what we've always done." So are we doing it well? That's doing the best I can, trying to lead people along. I'm a big. I think you said it earlier, Alex. I like to explain the why to people. We had a town hall meeting with all our people yesterday. I've got a focus group meeting. We've put every employee through a small focus group with me. And I like to explain, why are we doing the things we're doing? Why is it important for us to do it? Because if they understand why...
They can, they get to see the vision. They understand they can execute on your behalf.
Exactly. And if they don't understand the why, then it's just stress and it's change. And
Bingo.
I'm probably wrong. And I may be wrong anyway, but I'm certainly wrong if they don't understand why they're doing the things that they're doing.
Yeah, that's great. So, Mark, all this with the change and everything we're talking about, as a new leader, newish leader, CEO of the organization, you have to have a team supporting you. And I think part of any organization, especially with your size, you have a board behind you as well. So how has the board been, supporting you in this? I mean, I'm assuming this is an exciting time for them.
It is. It's a transition for them as much as the bank.
Okay.
And so as the bank has grown and transitioned, I think there's become transition to a certain degree in the energy. Transition's the wrong word in the board, but there's been a renewed energy in the board to move the bank forward. And about a month ago, our longtime CEO, Jack Demian, 30 years as CEO of the bank, stepped down. And so now we have new leadership at the board chair position as well to succeed Jack and take what Jack's built for so long and really move it forward in accordance with kind of the dream, the vision, if you will. Yeah. So the new board chair is a longtime Anne Arundel County business person, Jay Baldwin of Reliable Contracting. And Jay really has kind of aspirations as well. He's I don't know if I'm pushing him or he's pushing me, but both of us really want to see this bank do something special to give back to Anne Arundel County and drive the local economy.
That's great. So he's going to bring some good stuff to the board and to the mission there, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Jay's been involved in a number of businesses throughout the state and obviously located here in the county. So he brings a terrific awareness of what is needed in the local economy, and
Well, and it's personal to him at that point.
it is. It is very much personal. Jay's a big believer and a big proponent in Anne Arundel County, Central Maryland, and wants to be part of the growth and the drive forward.
Exciting. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing what happens over the next couple years and even 5 to 10 years from now. So, well, we have just a few minutes left. I mean, I feel like we could just keep going and going and going. There's a lot more questions we had planned, but I really want our viewers to take away the importance of community banking, and also what is like the few things, or maybe the one most important thing that you can share that people should know about the Bank of Glen Burnie.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really. We've been around for 77 years, almost 77 years. I think that's August is that anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
That'll actually be, just as a side note, that'll be 22 years for Mojo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have a party together.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Congratulations as
you.
well.
Thank you.
So I guess we've got a proud history. We've done a lot in 77 years. I like to think that the best is still in front of us.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can do. And again, I do think community banking's been very strong for a long time. It's consolidated. There's no secret there. But I really believe that the Bank of Glen Burnie can be a survivor here in Anne Arundel County and Central Maryland. And so kind of the vision that I have is let's build the Bank of Glen Burnie into something special. Let's really get into the symbiotic relationship. And this is home for me. So it's my last hurrah, right? This is my chance to leave something that's
Legacy.
hopefully good for everybody. Yeah, not for myself,
Absolutely.
but good. And I think that we can be a real economic engine to help drive and spur the Anne Arundel County, the Central Maryland economy for many years to come.
That's great.
And that's really where I'm trying to position the bank.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So a bank that is changing, a bank that listens and builds relationships to the customers, and that's looking to find a balance between providing great service that people need to understand that community banks are there to listen. And again, nothing to the big banks, and it sounds like the last thing I'll say is that it sounds like this Onsetto, which kind of cool name, as a marketing person, I think it's great because sometimes businesses don't realize the hurdle. Or they do realize
They do
the
realize.
hurdle to get to change from one bank to another. So that's great. The Bank of Burnie is really doing that, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah,
Well, I've enjoyed
absolutely.
our time together as always, and look forward to the next opportunity to get together.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Obviously, Mark Hanna has some great experiences that he's bringing to local banks, and more importantly, you got to hear some of his leadership styles, and I think it's really important as business owners or leaders or anybody in an organization to hear. So thanks for tuning in to The Diligent Leader, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. So I'm Alex Fakeri.
And I'm Kalie Jakovics.
Thanks for watching.